Well, US President Donald Trump held a lengthy phone conversation with Russian President Putin, discussing ways to end the war in Ukraine. Now, the conversation lasted over 2 hours, is what we understand. Putin reportedly emphasized the need for what he called compromises that suits both sides. In fact, this is before a ceasefire could be reached. He also expressed support for peaceful resolution and signaled readiness to work with Kyiv on a memorandum paving the way for future peace talks. President Donald Trump spoke briefly on the phone with Ukrainian President Zelensky, and this is ahead of his call with Putin. My colleague Vishal joins us with more details on this. Vishal, tell us about key takeaways from this phone conversation between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. What are the highlights of this conversation?
So the phone call lasted about 2 hours, more than 2 hours actually. And in that, Putin has said that he's ready for a memorandum that includes ceasefire. So that is the biggest takeaway. And he has said, in remarks quoted by Russia's state-run RIA Novosti, which is a state agency, it quotes Putin as says that Putin said he supports stopping the fighting, but there is a need to develop the most effective paths towards peace. So what does he exactly mean by that? That remains to be seen. Probably we'll have a lengthier statement in a while. But these are some positive signs because the US has been trying to broker ceasefire for the last 3-4 months, and there have been several meetings. There was a direct talk between both the sides, Kyiv and Moscow, after 3 long years. So there have been some, positive developments in the last 10 days or so. But it remains to be seen what Trump now does, because he has said that he will speak with Zelensky as well after he speaks with Putin. So it remains to be seen what he says in that call. And then he's also expected to speak with some NATO leaders who also have a say in the matter. So it's still not over yet. There will be several calls, and then we'll probably have a picture of what's coming next.
So quickly, Vishal, tell us what is really happening with the ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine. Why does it keep falling out, and does Donald Trump's conversation with the Russian president now make a difference to that?
Well, the biggest contention is that Ukraine is not ready to cede territory because as we speak, Russia occupies roughly about 5% of Ukraine's territory, and Russia wants to take that territory and officially, and Ukraine is not ready to give up that territory. So that's the main contention when it comes to ceasefire, and also the fact that Russia wants Ukraine to never pursue NATO membership. That is also one of the top contentions from the Russian side. Ukraine has somewhat diluted its stance on the NATO membership part, but it's not ready to cede territory. So the conversation in ceasefire have almost always revolved around these parts. And as far as Trump's efforts are concerned, he did say that within 24 hours he will bring ceasefire to the region, but he has failed to do so. But he has indeed initiated these some conversations and frequent meetings between both sides. So there have been some positives from these recent initiatives.
So this is being seen as a high-stakes call for Donald Trump, and also White House has said that the call has ended now, but the Russian president has also put out a statement. Vishal, can you tell us a little bit about that?
So state media has said that it was a more than 2-hour call between Trump and Putin, and it was supposed to be one of the biggest calls between both the presidents, because they have been speaking through their mediums to other peoples, but direct calls had not happened that much. Putin has expressed gratitude to Trump for the U.S. role in resuming direct negotiations between Russia and Ukraine. There will be more, remarks from the call that will be published. So far, we can say that both the sides, US and Russia, seem to be satisfied with the call. It was a long call, so obviously there had been there would be a lot of things they would have talked about, but the main call did revolve around the ceasefire in Ukraine, which has killed lakhs of people. There have been many other things that need to be considered, but we can say that there have been some positive developments for sure.